From analog.
Hi, Jim. You have a great signal up here. You're 5.9 plus.
You're digital.
We are everywhere you want to be. This is the CQ Blind Hams Podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Marvin Rush. My call is W5MRR, and we are going to hear today about the mic or M1KE, whichever you prefer. And I am glad that we have a nice crowd this afternoon. And without any more, I'm going to turn it over to Rob. And before he gets started, if everybody don't mind, please mute your microphones. If you're on a Windows PC, it's Alt-A. And if you're on a phone, you'll just swipe around and find the mute button. So take it over, Rob.
Well, thank you, Marvin, and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all so much for being here. Today, we'll be discussing the latest product from a company called SharkRF. And this company is located in the tiny but extremely tech-savvy country of Estonia, where all of the 1.3 million people who live there have an e-government ID, and everyone has high-speed internet. So it seems like a pretty good place, honestly, for a couple of hams to develop some high-tech ham radio gear. And that's exactly what this company, SharkRF, has done. They've become world famous for their hotspot known as the OpenSpot 4 Pro, and it supports most of the digital modes. And it is an easy way to connect using a transceiver that has digital capabilities to connect to places all around the world, which I have done either on D-Star or DMR, Fusion, or many of the other modes that it supports. And that was their leading product until just a few months ago. And they have announced this new product. By the way, there are only, as far as I know, two people who really do this development. Akos Martin does the hardware development, and the person who does the software, web support, and tech support is Norbert Varga. So this is I don't know what other staff they may have, but this is a small company in Estonia. And they have now come out with a brand new device, which is a radioless node that allows one to connect to many of these digital modes without any other device involved except the internet. And it is also AllStar capable. But I'm going to play for you now a brief snippet from a podcast that I recorded, which just describes the M1KE and gives you an idea of what the buttons are like and so forth. But in the last couple months, SharkRF has upped the game even more and introduced a new device called the M1KE. They say you can pronounce that mic as the name of the device, but I'm going to call it M1KE during this podcast so that it's clear that that's what I'm talking about. The M1KE is a tiny device. It can be thought of as a radioless node because there is no radio involved. This is an internet device that once you connect it to your Wi-Fi, you can connect to the digital modes just like you do with the OpenSpot. But the difference here is that it's a tiny device, which is essentially the size of a hand mic. It has a push to talk on it so that you can transmit directly on it. And it also, in addition to connecting to the digital modes, will allow you to connect to AllStar. So in this one tiny device, you can connect to all the popular digital modes as well as AllStar, and you don't need a radio to transmit to the digital mode. You do it all from the M1KE. I'm going to spend a little time describing the device. On the front of it, it has a visual display, and then below that visual display, there is a rather large speaker, especially for the size of this small device. And the speaker actually sounds pretty good. There is no headphone jack on the M1KE, so what you hear is going to be from its speaker. On the left side of the M1KE, there are 3 buttons. The top button is a volume up, the center button is a push to talk, and the bottom button is volume down. On the right side of the M1KE, the top button is power on off. The second button down is the up arrow. The third button is the down arrow. And there's a fourth button, which is the OK button. Now, these buttons are multifunction buttons, and they can do different things depending on how many times you press the button or if you press it in combination with other buttons. On the bottom of the device, there is only a USB-C port, which is used for charging the battery. There's nothing on the back, and on the top, the only thing that's there is a hook so that you can attach a lanyard to the device, and a lanyard does come in the box. It's pretty handy for wearing the M1KE around your neck when you want to walk around and be hands-free. All right, so any comments or questions that anybody has about the description of it or what it is? If so, please unmute yourself and say your name, and Marvin or I will call on you and you can make your comment. Any comments about this?
M0EBP.
Go ahead, Gina.
Yeah. Has anyone discovered, Patrick probably knows, exactly where the microphone is?
It is on the it's on the left side, about maybe on the far left side, about perhaps half an inch below the display, on kind of the edge.
Yeah,
little pinhole right above the speaker.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I assumed that it was there. It's just very hard to get the audio levels right, and so you don't know if you're holding it in the wrong place, whether you need to be, talking right into the microphone.
Yeah, I can make some comments about that later. I've found some optimizations for that.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Gina and Patrick. Anybody else have any comments on this little section? All right, we're going to move on, and I'm going to play a section that I talked a little bit about accessibility, and we can discuss that a little bit. Now we get to the elephant in the room. At least it's the elephant if you're like me and are a blind person. Is the M1KE accessible? Well, at least at the time of this recording, the information that is on the visual display is not accessible. But the good news is that doesn't mean that a blind person like myself is out of luck. There are a few things that you can do from the device itself that are reliably doable, even if you can't see the display. But there's also a very accessible web interface that is used to control and set up and operate the M1KE. This web interface can be accessed by any web browser on your phone, your Mac, or your PC, and it communicates directly with the M1KE through this interface. All right, any comments or questions, thoughts about accessibility at this point?
KW4U here. Is that interface achieved with the C cable? I guess C to C, USB-C to USB-C.
No, it's a wireless interface, John, that you connect to your M1KE wirelessly through a web interface.
Okay. Well, I hope you'll explain a little more about that as we go on.
Yeah, we can certainly talk more about that as we go on. Next, I'm going to play a little bit of information where I show you how you can, on the device itself, do some things. One of the main things is change profiles. For those who aren't familiar with the SharkRF products, they use profiles to let you set up different interfaces to different digital modes. And for the purposes of the M1KE, I found, at least as a blind person, that the best thing to do is to treat each profile like a channel so that you have one profile per one node that you want to connect to. Like I've got 6 profiles that connect to AllStar nodes and 2 that connect to D-Star nodes and 1 that connects to TGIF DMR and 1 that connects to a YSF room. So this is what I'm talking about when I discuss profiles a little bit here. What's going to happen when I power on the M1KE is you're going to hear some ascending tones that let you know that it's powering up. Then you're going to hear a speech synthesizer telling you which profile is active, and then in a few moments telling you which digital mode it is now connected to.
Mic profile A ready. Mic connected to REF030 Charlie.
So now let me explain and demonstrate how you can use the device itself to change to a different profile. I'm going to explain how I would change to profile number 1, which in my case is an AllStar profile that is set up to connect to blind hams. So the way you go about changing profiles on the device itself is you quickly triple tap the up arrow 3 times, triple tap. That takes you to a profile screen where you can select which profile you want to become active. And the good news, if you can't see the display, it's okay because it always takes you to the top of that screen, which is profile 1. So you always know where you are. When you come into that screen, you're going to be sitting on profile 1. So to get to profile 1, what I'm going to need to do is triple click the up arrow, and then that's going to place me with my focus on the profile selection screen on profile 1. I need to then press the OK button twice, and that will cause the M1KE to switch from profile 8, which it's on at the moment, to profile 1.
Mic profile 1 ready. Mic connected to AllStar link 506315.
Okay, so since I recorded that little piece for the podcast, a change has been made, at least in the beta version of the M1KE. If you notice that when I triple clicked and opened up that profile change screen, the M1KE didn't say anything. But in the new beta, when you triple click and the profile screen opens, it now speaks which profile is currently active. And then when you choose a new profile and you press the OK button the first time, it speaks the profile that you have now selected. And then when you press the OK button a second time, it goes to that profile. So any questions or comments about this section before we move forward?
Yeah, Robert, what if you're on the wrong profile? Can you hit the up arrow and it'll carry you back? And you understand what I'm asking? Or when you click that OK button, do you have to click it again before you can move?
At this time, I believe you do, Johnny. At least that's been my experience. Maybe if someone else who's running the beta has had a different experience, but I have not been able to correct an error if I went to the wrong profile without starting over at this time. But I have reported that as something that it would be nice if it worked a little differently.
Okay.
You
yeah,
can
that's
press-
been my experience.
You can press the back button, but that takes you to somewhere. And I don't know where that is.
And the back button is that the top
That's-
button?
The top button, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, if we knew where it took us to, that would help, but I don't know where it takes us to either. But I don't think it takes us to a place that we can easily get back to the profile change screen. At least that's been my experience so far. So now I want to give you a quick demonstration of what the M1KE sounds like when it connects to different modes. So let you hear a couple of snippets of receiving some transmissions. I'm now going to let you hear a demonstration of what an AllStar connection sounds like, then a D-Star connection, and finally a DMR connection. Here's an example of what an AllStar conversation sounds like.
Well, from a total knee replacement, she's going on start her 4th week. So I've been working with her, and she's doing real good. Going to get done just in time to when school. She teaches 2nd grade, so she's going to be like a new person. And I really enjoyed watching the flyovers of all the military aircraft at the Capitol fireworks display. And I thought it was extra cool to see the president and the first lady out on the veranda there at the White House watching the fireworks. That was just really, really neat. Oh, yes, sir. I've been hearing about that.
Here's an example of what a D-Star conversation sounds like coming in on the M1KE.
Sounds well on you. That's great. How are you liking that? Not at all. I mean, the digital display is kind of nice, but while you're driving along, it's not something you're looking at. And I've had a lot of issues getting into to work, programming basically. I mean, just was difficult to get everything worked out. Now, quite honestly, some of it was just making it and PyStar happy with each other. But for the price, I really don't think it's worth it.
Here's a sample of what DMR transmissions sound like on the M1KE.
Yep, all right, Rudy. Well, we'll let you go play some more there. Spin that VFO all around and check it out and learn your equipment there and have some fun, man. I can hear the excitement in your voice there, so enjoy and enjoy the hobby there. K4WZV, West Central Florida. We'll be clear and monitoring. All right, Robert 73s, man. Let me have, I should say, having fun. So 73's all okay in Florida.
All right. Any questions about any of that? Okay, we just got a couple of more sections brief to go through here. Talking about the web interface, and then we'll just open it up for general discussion. I'm going to access the web interface on my iPhone for this particular demonstration. The access on the Mac or the PC is very similar as long as you know how to operate your screen reader in a browser. You should be fine. So I'm now on the Shark web page of my particular M1KE. I'm going to start at the top of the page and start flicking right to show you basically what's here.
Status.
So the first item we have is status.
Quick setup.
We have quick setup.
Connectors.
Connectors.
Tools.
Tools.
Mic. Settings. Network. User manual.
And user manual. It's really important to point out that the user manual for the M1KE is online, and you can access it directly from this screen or directly from SharkRF.com. website, but the user manual is very accessible because it's done in HTML. So it's just a series of web pages, and it's well organized, and it's something that you will need to refer to learn the ins and outs of the M1KE. Let's go back to status.
Status.
And I'm going to double tap on it.
Status.
Then I'm going to use the command that I use on my phone to move by heading to go down to the first heading.
Status. Heading level 1.
And let's see what's here.
Hide voice announcements, checkbox, unchecked. Limit call log lines, checkbox, checked. Auto scroll, checkbox, checked. No call log entries.
So now we're in the section where it shows you call log entries, which are simply communication records that the M1KE has done. So when it sends a voice announcement, that will be logged here, or when it connects to a particular node or to a particular D-Star reflector or DMR talk group, that information will be here in the call log. I cleared mine recently, so I don't have anything in the call log right now. I'm going to move down another heading.
Linked nodes on, heading level 3. ASL 611411. Heading level 3.
So that's showing me there what my M1KE is actually connected to. By the way, you have to have the M1KE on before you can access this web page. Otherwise, it'll just tell you M1KE not connected. I'm going to move to the next heading.
M1KE info, heading level 1. Battery, ready, 78%.
So this is where you go to M1KE info to check your battery level. Mine's at 78%. That's the last heading on this page. There are lots of other things on this page. Well, I'll just flick down a little bit, let you hear a little more what's here.
USB current limit, not available. Hardware release, 1.0. Firmware version, V32.
All right, so that's just a little snapshot of how the status page works. Obviously, I'm not going to go through the other pages of the interface. They're similar and all that. I did go through more of them on the actual full-length podcast that I did for Blind Hams on the M1KE. Any comments or questions about any of that? All right, we'll go to the final section here. I'm going to show you how you can use the web interface to change profiles. I showed you earlier that you can do it from the device itself, but you can also do it from the web interface. And this is just a little snippet about how that works.
Number 2, VE3PBO, text field.
Okay, now it said 2, and then it said number 2, and it gave the name of the AllStar node that I'm currently connected to. The 2 means I'm using profile number 2 at the moment. That's the profile that's selected. And remember, I showed you how you can change profiles using the buttons on the device itself. You can also change profiles using this web interface. So if I'm sitting on the edit field, which it says 2, meaning I'm connected to profile 2, if I double tap on this edit field, I can then touch the screen up above the edit field near the top of the screen until I get the focus on the list of the 10 profiles that I have set up, and I can double tap on whichever one of those I want to change to. So let's give that a try.
Insertion point at end. 10 results are available. Use up and down arrow keys to navigate. 9, number 9, TGI FDMR.
I opened the edit box and I used my finger to touch the screen nearer to the top. This takes a little practice, but once you find it, you got it. And now I've got the list of 10 profiles. I just happened to touch profile number 9. So if I flick right,
10, number 10, parrot.
That's number 10. I've got my number 10 profile set to the parrot right now so I can check my audio. So since I'm at number 10, I'm going to go backwards through the list.
9, number 9, TGIF-DMR.
That's my DMR profile.
8, number 8, 30 Charlie.
That's a D-star profile, which would connect me to a reflector called 30 Charlie.
7, number 7, 1 Charlie.
That's another D-star reflector called 1 Charlie.
6, number 6, Handy Ham.
So this profile number 6 is an AllStar profile, which would connect me to the AllStar node for the Handy Ham system.
5, number 5, W6EK.
And this profile number 5 connects me to W6EK, which is a repeater system in Auburn, California. It's a popular AllStar node. They're famous for their morning coffee net, among other things.
4, number 4, W4 kilo electron volts.
So W4KEV, voiceover said kilon electron volts, but it's expanding that to words that are meaningless in this case. It's W4KEV, which is a repeater system out of Knoxville, Tennessee, several repeaters linked together. They have a very popular trading post net, and they have a lunch bunch every day that meets at lunchtime, Monday through Friday.
3, number 3, Crossroads.
The third profile set up on my M1KE is to a radio club called Crossroads, which is a Texas-based link of repeaters that I'm a member of, and there's a lot of activity on Crossroads, so that's my third profile.
2, number 2, VE3PBO.
Number 2 is a repeater system up in Canada. It's an AllStar profile, and that is a repeater system that I check into a net every day, Monday through Friday, called the Professional Loafers Net. And now we're back to
1, number 1, Blind Hams.
The Blind Hams profile, which I have listed as number 1. But let's just say that I want to change the M1KE from whatever profile it's sitting on right now to one of the D-star profiles. So let's go back up to profile number 7.
2, number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, number 7, 1 Charlie.
So I just flicked to the right through the profiles till I got to number 7. I'm going to double tap on that.
Change profile button. Do you want to change the active profile to 7, number 7, 1 Charlie? Cancel button. Now change profile.
So I'm going to press this change button, and the M1KE will change to profile 7.
Change profile and navigation.
Mic, profile 7, ready. Mic, connected to RE001 Charlie.
All right, so that's a little bit about how the web interface works, and it gives you a flavor for how I have my M1KE set up, and I expect to be able to use it quite well with the nodes and reflectors and talk groups that I connect to most often. And I especially would likely use it when I'm traveling because it's just such a small device all in one. But that's basically the information that I wanted to present to give people who weren't that familiar with it some idea about it. But now, unless you want to add a comment, Marvin, I would say let's just open it up for a general discussion. And if you want to make a comment or ask a question, just please go ahead and unmute and give us your name, and we'll call on you. And we can go from there.
N2DYI.
Go ahead, Patrick.
While you guys were playing that, I was messing around with the profile screen, and you can actually go back. I can demonstrate that real quick if you want.
Please do.
Okay, so if you triple tap on the up arrow, it will say
Profile 3 active.
In my case, I'm on profile 3, so that's going to go to profile 3 active. If I press OK, it's going to say profile 1. It always starts on 1.
Profile 1.
Well, oops, I don't want to go to 1. Let's press back. Okay, now let's press enter again. So it goes back to 1. Now, what I'm not sure of is, will it go to, let's say if I go to profile 2, so I'm sitting on 1 now. I'm going down to 2. Let's press enter here.
Profile 2.
Okay, now if I go back and press OK again, is it going to go back to 1 or is it going to go to 2?
Profile 2.
It stays on 2. But now I can go 3, 4, 5, 6 because it stayed on 2. So when you go back, it remembers the profile that it was on. And if you go back a second time and then triple tap on the up arrow again,
Profile 3 active.
It goes back to profile 3 active, pressing OK, and then you're back at the top. So you can, if you get stuck there, you can press back twice, and then you can press the up arrow 3 times to get back there. So that seems to work.
Well, thanks for that. That's really helpful.
That answered my question. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if that worked, but it does, so that's cool.
I wasn't either. That is cool. I didn't get it to work quite like that the other day, but I didn't do it quite the way you did it. That's the interesting thing about the M1KE. Once you get it, you can do lots of things, but you have to hit it just right to prove it to yourself that you can do it the first time.
So what about the ghost tones? Here the other day, I was on Blind Hams, and all of a sudden I got weird tones that wasn't the courtesy tone that I had selected on my AllStar node.
Oh boy, this is a rabbit hole.
This is going to be interesting here.
This is a rabbit hole.
Well, leave it to me, Patrick.
So I'm going to blame Chip for that one. It's not his fault, but I'm going to blame Chip because it is his fault, even though it's not. So there is a very, very weird thing going on with the way that the mic does node connections. So I think Robert mentioned earlier there are a couple of different ways you can connect to the AllStar network. You can connect, or maybe he didn't, but Gina's podcast did. So you can connect as a node, as in an actual registered node number, or you can connect using a token, which is what Repeater Phone and DV Switch Mobile and Web Transceive for macOS does. Well, for some weird reason, if you connect as a node, as in a registered node number, and you have a 9 in your call sign, and your call sign is a 1x2 or a 1x3, or maybe it just starts with a 9, like Norbert's does. Not Norbert, I'm sorry, Charles, who was not here, who's who I was thinking of. Anyway, if you have one of those and you register as a node number, rather than just making a connection to a node, so let's say I'm connecting 508427, that's the node I have registered to my mic. I'm connecting that to 506311, which is one of the Blind Hams nodes. So what actually happens is it makes a connection. 506311 sees that 508427 is connected. But here's where it gets weird. N2DYI is connected to 508427, except sometimes N2DYI gets truncated to 2DYI. Now, that's not a problem until you consider that for whatever reason, long ago, like back in 2006, someone decided that the AllStar Link network needed to have something called a Ranger node. And Ranger nodes have that special beep, 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 beep courtesy tone that Marvin was talking about. And every time the AllStar Link network sees a node starting with the number 9, it says, "Oh, Ranger." And then everybody who unkeys gets that tone. So N9KIW got truncated to 9KIW, and now there's a 9 node. It thinks there's a 9 node, and that's what's happening. I I need to talk to about 4 different people to kind of get some coordination to maybe get that fixed, but I think that's what's happening with that. It's a very strange thing.
Patrick, we have another person on blind hams who has a 9 call who got an M1KE, and his does that as well. But he argues that he has heard 2 calls and 8 calls also do it.
Well, there shouldn't be any reason for anything other than a 9 to do it, because there's no, the only time that'll ever trip is if there's a 9 starting, and it has to start with a 9. So the only other way I could think that could happen is if something gets weird and mangles the node number, which I haven't seen in any of my testing yet, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, but...
Well, as long as that 9 call is connected, it's going to do that, correct, Patrick? So if he disconnected, it probably would not do that.
Right, but the fun thing is it doesn't happen all the time, and it doesn't happen in web transceive mode.
Yeah, it is a funny thing.
Yeah.
Who else has a question or comment?
Question about the M1KE and Brandmeister. Can you comment on that? No, I understand that if you have an M1KE, you can't use you can't use the M1KE to connect to Brandmeister with VMR. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know because I don't use Brandmeister. The only thing I've heard is that Brandmeister does not like radioless devices to be connected to statewide talk groups.
You can go anywhere on Brandmeister, but not the statewide talk groups if you have a mic or something like it.
So I could get into Brandmeister, let's say if I connected to a talk group in the United Kingdom or someplace like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I took time unmuting. But yes, I can connect to Active Elements Bridge perfectly fine via DMR, which is a Brandmeister DMR talk group number.
Excellent. Well, that's good to have that confirmation. Who else?
John McCann here. I guess, my idea is, all right, I just got it in the mail, take the thing out of the box. What do I do? What's the actual website to begin to set it up? I mean, I did hear it say quick setup or something like that, but what's the actual website that you connected to control your
Yeah,
M1KE?
so if you're going to set it up as a blind person, which is what I did with mine, when you first take it out of the box, you need to hold down the top button and the third button down, which is the down arrow, top button and down arrow with
So
the
the two on either side
off.
are push to talk.
They're on the right side. They're all on the right side. These are.
And you said there are 4 buttons there. So there's back, up, down, and OK. Would that be right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And the back
is also
button
power.
is also the power button.
All right. Well, okay. That wasn't clear. So you hold power and what else?
Hold power and down arrow while the machine powers up. And that puts it in a mode where it creates a temporary wireless connection, which will or a wireless SSID, which will show up in your Wi-Fi. And that's where you go to actually begin the process of connecting from the temporary connection to your actual home Wi-Fi connection, and you walk through those steps.
Enter, it may find your, let's say, whatever my network is, I'm going to have to enter a password so it can do that, right?
It shows up as a network itself. So you connect whatever device you're configuring it with to this thing that shows up as a mic or M1KE something. I forget what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a password. So you log into that, connect to that, and then go to, what is it, http:// I think it's just mic or M1KE.local.
Local.
And you go there, and then you can go into the quick setup stuff, set up your wireless network. You can scan for networks. You can manually put one in, put your password in, and then once it's connected, that's where you connect it.
Scan for, my home network.
Right.
I'm going to have to, obviously, it'll see that it's like the Windsor Park compound, 2.4 gigahertz, yada, yada. Password, the traditional stuff, too.
Yeah.
Will it connect to both 2.4 and 5 and 5 as well? Does it have to be 2.4?
As far as I know, it's 2.4 only. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's only 2.4.
I've only seen 2.4. Anything else? Comments or questions?
How many profiles are there in this? Is
10.
it the same? They're just like the OpenSpot 4 Pro, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
I would like Patrick to elaborate when he can on some of his audio settings. He had one of the best ones that I've heard so far. So just whenever there's time, if you don't mind, Patrick.
No problem.
Accessibility shortcuts.
So the audio settings, so I played around for quite a while when I first got my mic. It is very common. A lot of people close work these things, which you don't want to do. It's a very sensitive, very small microphone, plosives galore. And the audio is a bit low. So what I did was I turned up, there were two main things that I changed. The first thing, primarily dealing with AllStar link here, since that's the mode I use the most. So the first thing I changed was the microphone gain. So there's a link in the web interface that says mic. So you click on that. That gives you a bunch of options depending on what connector you're in. And one of those is the microphone gain setting. So I changed that to 6. It's 0 by default. And then I went into where it says send to IX2 network. And I don't remember what the default is. I changed it to 10. I think it's at 0. And then I just, I backed way off from the microphone talking across. So more to the right side. And maybe about 4 inches or so that there's no plosives. I think I also messed with the EQ a little bit. I think I turned the mids up by a couple dB. If you go into settings and you check the advanced box, that gives you access to an EQ, gives you access to a setting called loudness, which, by the way, I don't recommend using. It brings up way too much background noise. So what I did was I turned up those 2 gains. I just boosted the mids ever so slightly, and then just back off, and it sounds pretty good that way.
Yeah, I heard you on somewhere, maybe on the net, and you did sound really good. So those are good recommendations.
I take it these are profile-specific settings. You'd have to do this
They are.
for each profile.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you make a change and you like the way that change is, you might want to copy that profile to another slot before you make a change. Like if you have multiple profiles that you want to change. So what I did was I started with one, and then I copied it to the next, and then copied that to the next, and then just changed the node that those profiles went to.
If you're using DMR, are there different settings that you'd have to use for DMR for this thing as well? Because you were talking about AllStar.
Yeah, every mode has its own settings. So the microphone gain is global, but then the DMR, YSF, P25, all those have their own gains, and I turned every one of those way up from where they were. I think DMR is set to -12. I changed it to -3 or 0 or something. Anyway, it's a lot louder.
Patrick, on that mic screen, there are 2 save buttons there. Am I correct to say the top save saves those settings to the device, and then the next save button saves it to the profile, whichever profile you have chosen?
That is how I understand it. I always just hit both of them.
That's what I thought.
It's interesting that if you turn advanced mode off, you only end up with 1 save button.
Yeah, because that other save button, I think, is just for the advanced settings.
Any other comments or questions?
This is Chip, N9KIW, the problem child. Can I speak?
Oh,
Go
no.
ahead, Chip.
Hey, I know, right? Oh, man. So I noticed, and I don't think there's a solution to this. Maybe the software just has to get better. But like if I'm searching for a node or something and I'm in iOS, the search results disappear. Like, I'm trying to search for something and it says, oh, 1 search result. So that tells me, all right, it narrowed it down. It found it. But then when I touch the screen, it's not there. I noticed the custom servers seem to show up more reliably than the servers with the search. Now, it does work pretty well on the computer with a keyboard, and I can turn the JAWS virtual cursor off and go down, up and down, whatever I want to do. But I noticed on my iPhone, it seems like those search results disappear. And so What I sometimes have to do is scroll through the whole list of whatever I'm looking for, like the AllStar nodes, all whatever, how many thousand of them, to try to find
42,000.
looking for because the results seem to disappear. Has anyone else noticed that?
I've seen things like that, and I think for that
Yeah, I
reason,
do too.
I've done almost all my configuring on my Mac,
Same.
where I have a lot
Windows
better
and
luck.
Mac. I've done it on both. I have not done much with iOS. I don't really like the way iOS Safari works with that interface. I mean, it's mostly usable until you run into things like that.
Yeah.
I had better luck using Chrome on iOS than I did Safari.
It's interesting because that's basically just, it's not really Chromium on iOS. It's actually just Safari with a different skin on it.
It made a
It's
difference.
WebKit. So I didn't think it would make that much difference, but I guess it does.
Yeah, these are little things, some big things that are things that have to be dealt with and hopefully will be improved upon. I'm encouraged to see some of the improvements that are being made, and that does give me hope that a lot of this can get better. But once Norbert gets a hold of Patrick's list, we may not hear from him again for another 2 or 3 years.
Well, at least he's listening, though. He's listening. He's not raising sand about it. He's actually looking at it. So that's a good thing.
That's very encouraging. All right, one more time for comments or questions, and we'll bring this to a close.
And again, if anybody wants one of these things, them tariffs go into effect 1st of September. So think about it.
Person who said they have a question, go ahead.
408, 410, but the price is in the low 400s.
Yeah, that was HB9 FUV. Now, if I set up this mic, I would do it at home and connect it to my home network. Now, if I go traveling, there would be several networks I would need to connect it to. So my first question, and I could also hopefully connect it to the personal hotspot of the iPhone.
Yep.
How many possibilities do I have there? And does it change automatically? Like I'm leaving my home network now and it automatically starts looking and finds the other one. That's, I think, how the OpenSpot 3 does it.
Yeah, it works just like the OpenSpot 3 in that regard. You can set up, I don't know how many, I didn't count them, 5, 6.
It's 5, and you can save them to all profiles, and it goes in order of priority. So it's going to look for network 1 first, then 2, then 3. So what I did was I put my phone in the first and then my home Wi-Fi on the second. So even if I'm at home and I have my phone hotspot on, it'll still connect to that first.
Yeah, it works just like the OpenSpot, Norbert.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Anything else?
Oh, yeah. One quick thing, because of the way it works. If you have an iPhone, modern iPhone, you're able to turn on the compatibility mode. So it goes into 2.4 gigahertz, so your hotspot can find it.
Yeah, and also make sure you don't have an apostrophe in your name.
No,
iPhone's
don't do that
SSID.
either.
Marvin, any final comments from you before we bring this to a close?
Well, just want to thank everybody for coming on a strange day. I enjoyed all this, and Patrick, you did a great job. Rob, you did a great job also. And if I were going to do the deed, I think I would do it before the first next month.
And that's less than 2 weeks away as of right now.
Exactly.
Well, I think that who doesn't have one of these devices would grow to appreciate it very much and get a lot of use out of it. Don't let it scare you, man. I mean, look at AllStar when it come along. We were all new. So I believe you would enjoy the device immensely. I do. And Rob, Patrick, appreciate y'all. Marvin, good job.
I've only had this thing since Thursday, so I'm the newest one of you here, but I'm already kind of getting to grips with it. But I mean, it's been out since November of 2024. It's not brand new, but you know, with the software developing, and of course now it supports AllStar Link, which got a whole bunch of people, including me, interested in it. I wasn't really before. So there you go.
I take it you go to rf.com to find the ordering information.
Yeah, SharkRF.
SharkRF.com.
SharkRF.com. That's
and I can tell you from experience when I order the OpenSpot 4 Pro, they use I forgot the name of the company, but DHL Express or DHL. No problems. It really came out.
Mine came from UPS.
Oh wow.
Mine did too, and it was here in 2 days. Ordered on Sunday. Got it on Tuesday.
So, Patrick, maybe you haven't played with this. I was talking to Rob about this, but I've
You got to remember, he comes from Albany, so anything.
That's right. I'm in Albany. It's not Albany. It's called Smallmany. I'm sorry.
Nice job, Robert. Patrick.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that if I wanted to connect to you personally, Patrick or Rob, there's a way to do that with my M1KE without going to AllStar, DMR, or whatever. You can connect 2 different ones together. Have you guys tried that at all?
There is a mode like that, but I don't know that it's accessible.
It is accessible. What you have to do is you use the SharkRF connector, and you have to forward a port in your router, and then basically give them your address and have them connect straight to you. It does work. It's not something I think I would ever use, but it works.
Okay, thank you. Very good job, guys. Very good. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, 73, everybody. Thanks for being here, and it's been a pleasure to have you all on this August TechZoom. But this is Robert NC5R, and I will say so long for now and bring this to a close.
See ya.
Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and visit www.blindhams.com.